Welcome back, guys. We are on Sunshine Forest for the Realistic Cattle Ranch Challenge. We're going to start with nothing but our trusty international truck and build a cattle ranch until we have at least 300 cows and $4 million in the bank, all while using Arrow's Realistic Livestock Mod. So I've been out driving around Sunshine Forest trying to find the best place to start our farm, and I think I've decided on where that's going to be. Up here on the right is a plot of land that has a little bit of forest but is mostly meadow. So let's hook into the field here and go take a look. This plot right over here I think is going to be our ideal starting point for our cattle ranch. Let's hop into the PDA and take a look at where we are and what's going on. So in the PDA, we are right here on field 12. As you can see, a portion of this is in the forest, but the majority of it is grass. Sunshine Forest is a 2x standard size map. Its unique feature is it actually was set up for the peat moss add-on, which is what Farmland 1 and these two fields down here in the bottom right corner are for. We're not going to be messing with any of that. We're using it because I think the rolling hills, the terrain, the way it's set up really plays nicely into our goals of sort of conquering the wilderness and building a big and very successful and very high income producing cattle ranch. So field 12 I think is going to be our starting point. We do have the animal dealer on the right hand side over by the storage bay. We've got the lumber mill, we've got the vehicle shop, we've got a couple of characters up here. We have the train rental for sale and the selling wood station. That's sort of our town and our sell point on the map. So let's head that way now and get started. Love the starting sounds of our international. You guys can see we got the patinaed version. Looks like it's been around the block at least twice. Love this truck. Lots of fun to drive. Just a really cool mod. So what is the Realistic Cattle Ranch Challenge? Well, as I said at the beginning, we're going to build a cattle ranch with at least 300 cows on it. We're looking to make, have $4 million in the bank. But there are some rules for the gameplay to keep us honest and to make it challenging and fun. First and foremost, and pretty obviously, we're going to be using Arrow's Realistic Livestock Mod. So we're going to be hands-on in managing our cattle ranch, selecting the best animals for our farm to reproduce and create a really strong breeding pool of animals. We'll obviously be selling some of those animals. We'll be keeping some. We'll have beef cattle and we'll have milk and dairy cattle. We're going to do a lot of different things, but we're going to be managing their rotation and making sure our females are reproducing and our males are the best, have the best genes for, creating good offspring and trying to really build a very successful line of cattle that will be very desirable at sale. So in addition to that, we are running precision farming, so we'll have that fun addition to the game. I'm excited to have that back in our gameplay. We will be handling everything manually until we are at least 100 cows. So we'll be using bales. We won't be picking up any loose grass, hay, or straw. Be baling everything and using some sort of front loader or telehandler to pick it all up. No, the shop and start our shopping spree. So we're going to need a tractor. Want something small, north of 150 horsepower. I'm hoping to get something between like $40,000 and $60,000. So check the sale first. Here's a mower. We know we're going to be doing grass. We'll keep an eye on that one. Some tree saplings, that's a nice addition. Maybe we'll plant some of that. We are with precision farming, so we know we're going to need lime. I'm just going to buy when lime and seed and fertilizer come up in the sale. We're just going to buy it and have it on hand. There's a round silage bale for $720. I think we'll produce that. Here's another Samaz mower. I think that one's a little more expensive. The Hauer front loader tool could be great if we get a tractor with a front loader attacher, so we can run pallet forks, a shovel for picking up manure, all that kind of stuff. The soluble fertilizer for the Fiber Dash chemical mod, I think you have to actually put that in water. I don't think you can spread that, so that's not going to be of much help. Lots of things in here. That's a great trailer. No way we could afford that. The K brand mower is nice. It's a little expensive even though it's on sale, but we'd also need the front mower, which I think is going to be too much money. Not seeing, I mean, this case is great, but it's just way too big and way too expensive. Oh, popped out of the sale there. Let's see. Let's scroll back down and find that case. There we are. Spreader looks nice, but we're not there yet. We do have the Flegel trailer, which could be good for going back and forth. We'll have to take a look at that. The Great Plains planter on sale, 68% off. That would help us plant our grass field. It could also put some wheat in the ground. You know, guys, I think we're just going to get that now. I think we're going to need it, and I don't think we're going to find a better option. So let's start with the Great Plains planter, $15,000. Not a bad investment. We'll need that. And I keep popping out of the shop here, guys. Let's see. Scrolling back down. All right. A couple of headers, trucks, log grabs. I mean, some really cool equipment, but stuff we're just not able to get yet. Telehandler would be great, but $67,000 is a little rich for us right now. Would love to have a big square baler for doing straw and hay and grass, but that is going to eat up most of our money. Let's see. We do have the Go Wheel round baler. That's not a bad option. It is pretty expensive, though. What is its pickup with? Does it say? It doesn't say. Well, that's interesting. 24,000 with the net wrap, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Lots of front loaders in here. A hay bale, which is nice, but I don't think we're going to need that. More lime. We'll snag that real quick. Only one. That's too bad. Keep hoping to find like an 8-pack of lime, because when we need it, we're going to need a lot of it. The front Samaz mower. Again, we could put that with a K brand, but we're still at $25K for a mower. This is a nice plow for $4,500. Maybe we pick that up to, I should check and see how much the Black Sheep modding one is. But let's keep that in mind. I'm just not seeing a tractor that makes sense. The K brand baler for $20,000. This goes up to 180 centimeters, which would be nice to have some big bales. We might have to look at that. Let's see. What is the pickup on the K brand? Does it say? No, it doesn't. So, all right. Moving on. Here's a transport trailer. We're going to need one of those, but that only does horses. More seed pallets. And I got lots and lots of stuff. This is actually the crane from the map that's for sale. That's funny. Man, manure spreader would be nice. Lots of things I'd like to buy, but I'm just not seeing any small tractors. We got a windrower for $5,000. That'd be a nice addition. Ooh, another hay bale, milk trailer, road salt. These are all, you know, a Fendt Vario 1000. Beautiful tractor. Way bigger than what we need. Okay, so there's no tractors in the sale. They're going to work for us. We've got a couple of options like the Fiat at 63. All the rest of these are way too rich for my blood. We do have, oh, look, we have a Fiat mod. I almost forgot about this one. Let's see. 180 horsepower. That'll be nice. Does it go higher than that? No, 160, 180. I like the Nokian tires on the Fiat. They look really good. Any interesting wheels? Oh, those are fun. Huh. Don't cost us anything. Maybe we'll go with something like that. Mechanical back arms. We already have a 3-point. So just adds the hydraulics, I guess. Not sure we need that. Exhaust configuration, that's free. We don't really care. No fenders is definitely the way to go on the Fendt. Left beacon, right beacon. Can we do both? Should we have that? Grid configuration, something darker. Yep, we want the darker one. And then design. Oh, I forgot this. These are here, guys. These are really fun. So they've got a bunch of different paint jobs. And the cool part is they have these ones that are like destroyed. And the cool part is because they're all worn out, they take $15,000 off the purchase price. So that is very cool. Definitely want a front attacher on this. Has our license plate. $26,500 for a 180 horsepower tractor. That is coming with us, guys. That is a great deal. So the first order of business now that we have a tractor is going to be to get some grass mowed to clear a spot for our first cow pasture or barn. So we had a couple of things that looked good in the sale. Where is that side mower we saw up here? It was one of the Samaz ones. Must have scrolled past it. We have a bale wrapper too, which would be nice. All right, let's see. Right here, the Hirschfield version of the Samaz mower. Don't need any logos on it. Let's go with a dark gray and a black. Because mowers shouldn't stand out. That black doesn't look very black. How about this one? That's better. $6,200. I like that. All right, and then we had a couple of balers. They weren't great deals yet, so let's check on the balers real quick. Square balers would be great. I don't think we have any mods. It would give us, yeah, I mean, $105,000 for the cheapest one. I guess we have the mini baler, the Massey Ferguson, but we're doing it all manually. I'm not picking up mini bales. Got to have more self-respect than that, guys. The round baler. Okay, so we had a K brand on sale. We had the Go Wheel on sale. Poplar. We do have the Kloss at $12,000. It only does 125 centimeter round bales. So the question is for $8,000, because I think it was the Go Wheel was like 20. Let's go check the sale real quick. You know, for $8,000, if we can make bigger bales, is that a better option? And I think the answer is going to be yes, but I don't want to spend a ton more than that. So where did they go? I love the additional sales mod, but it is just a ton of stuff. Okay, 23,000 with the net wrap is going to be 24, and this does 125 only. So that's not better than what we have. So was it the K brand that we saw that was better suited for our needs? Let's see, 20,000. And this one does 125 to 180. So that is basically $8,000 for the ability to do bigger size bales. So if we're doing grass, we could do 180 centimeter bales and be in really good shape. Check the tires real quick. Partial to BKT doesn't cost us anymore. Okay, we don't care about which brand, wrap or film net. We just need it to be cheap, so it's all the same. So I think we picked this up. It's a little more expensive than that Kloss, but it'll do bigger bales, and since we're handling those on our own, it's going to be better for us long term. So let's run over here. We got a couple pieces of equipment, a couple things of lime. Look at that tractor. That thing looks very, very cool. Jump in. Let's hear the fire up. Sounds good. Got a nice loud motor on it. And let's head back to, well, I say our piece of land, but we haven't bought it yet. So we got to buy our piece of land, and then I think we go back and do some mowing. In my early pregame testing and in my mod review for Realistic Livestock, one of the things I came across was you can't actually buy animals with Realistic Livestock installed unless you have a piece of land and some sort of pasture or barn to put them in. I was trying all these trailers. I thought the trailers weren't working and had all these problems. But it turns out that even if you're transporting them on your own, and I understand obviously if you were trying to get the animals delivered and you had nowhere to deliver them, that would work. That makes perfect sense. But I was trying to load animals into a trailer that I had, and it was in the trigger point, and it wasn't allowing me to purchase the animals, which was really weird. And I thought maybe it was a modded trailer that was a problem, so I tried base game trailers. I tried trailers with high capacity and low capacity and semi-trucks and all kinds of different things, and it just wouldn't buy it. So I thought maybe the Realistic Livestock Mod was broken for a bit, until I figured out you actually have to have a place to put them. And I think that's because it tracks their health and everything else. There's a monitoring system that's based on which enclosure, pen, or barn they're in. And I think somewhere in the back end of that mod, it does link to the pasture, like I said, or barn or building or whatever they're in, and it can't track them unless they have a location. So if you're running into that problem on your gameplay or when you're trying to use the mod, just make sure you have a barn in place to put your animals in before you try to buy them, and you will be in good shape. So once we get up here and get mowing, we're just going to knock out a quick flat spot to try to get a pasture down for our cows. Then we'll be buying our cows. Our goal today is really focused on two things. One, we need to get a very, very high quality bull. And from my testing and experience and working with the mod, it looks like the bull does not have to be the same species as the cow to reproduce. So we only need one bull to start off with. I don't think it's really worth investing in a lot of bulls, but over the course of the gameplay, we need to find one high quality bull, and then we need to find whether it's Angus and Limousine, some beef cows, or we find some dairy cows, find the brown Swiss or the Holstein. And we got to try to line up their ages, because the bull and the cows have to be the right age to be able to reproduce. And in order to get this gameplay up and running as quickly as we can, which is still going to take a long time, we need our animals to be reproducing early in the gameplay, so we're getting calves and expanding our farm. Because when it comes to the calves, we'll have one of two things happen. We'll either get, cows, which we'll use to reproduce or produce milk or sell as beef cattle after they're bred, or we'll get more bulls. And my thought is we'll eventually have multiple pens, and we'll have a bull pen, which is sort of a pun play on words because they're our backup guys anyways. And we'll just raise the extra bulls until they're of enough financial value to sell. We also know with the Realistic Livestock Mod that animals will die from accidents, they will pass away from age and illness, so we want to have a couple of bulls around to make sure we have high quality breeding bulls in case one gets too old or it's time to sell. But we don't want to have 50 or 100 bulls on the farm. That's just not a productive way to do it. So I think we set up some sort of open pasture for the bulls, let them eat grass, let them be healthy, and just grow and increase in value, and keep our bull population down. So we're either going to have, breeders or sellers after our first round of calves, and that's going to be the main focus of the playthrough, and how we make our money and how we grow our cattle ranch and go from there. So we're pulling off here to the left onto Farmland 12, which we still need to buy. I think we'll go up here by this tree and pause. The Fiat's doing a great job dragging everything. Doesn't seem to be having any problems at all. Just a great looking tractor. So let's pull up here. This spot right in front of us looks relatively flat. So I think we drop the mower here. We got to attach it to the back. We're not going to mow on the front. And I think we mow a little patch here so we can put a barn or a pasture down. We got to get cattle on the ground, on the farm first episode. But we also need to be very careful because they have to be fed and potentially watered, or their health won't go up and they could die overnight. So we don't want to buy a bunch of, I guess I hit visit there instead of purchase. We want to buy farmland 12. So we could end up buying a bunch of cattle, and then if we don't have bales and stuff for them, we could end up with losing animals overnight, which would be a really hard way to start the series. So let's get that unfolded. I think we're just going to sort of mow this little area here in front, lower it down, turn it on, and away we go. Wow, guys, that looks like a lot of grass. I don't know how much we're going to get out of it, but that for meadow grass looks like an absolute ton of grass, which could be good news because I plan on mowing all of our land at least once to get a bunch of bales started and stored before we go and plant a grass field. But if it's producing this much on its own, it really could. We could just use the meadow grass. This map could be even better than we thought. A couple more passes here. Get everything mowed up and then baled. And after we have the bales, I guess we didn't figure out how to handle the bales. And this tractor didn't have a front loader attacher, did it? Well, that's going to be one of our first challenges we have to overcome, is figuring out how we're going to handle the bales. We're committed to doing it manually, so that's going to happen. I was thinking the tractor we bought would have a front loader attacher. We had a bunch for sale in the sale as well, which would have been easy to pick up. So, yeah, I'll have to do some thinking about that as we go. So I think that's going to be enough grass to get us started. Grab our baler. I don't see any reason not to do 180 centimeter bales. We're not going to be wrapping these bales. These are just literally to make sure we have food for our first batch of cattle. So let's see. Change bale size. Let's see. Reset bale counter. Change bale size is L. 180s. Perfect. Fold, drop down, turn on. Great, we're out making bales. So we're making 180 centimeter bales. This is not a lot of grass. I'm hoping we get 5 or 6 bales off of this first little cut. Leave me a comment down below. Don't cheat. How many do you guys think we're going to get off this? It's always fun to guess. I'm going to go with 5 because they're pretty big. But leave me a comment down below. How many bales do you think we're going to get off of this little field? And I will bring you guys back in when I'm done baling and have a count for you guys. That's a wrap on the bales, guys. We did not get 5 bales. We got 3 bales. 2 down here and the 1 at the far end, and an additional 458 liters. It wasn't even close to 4 bales. So now we need to find a pasture or a barn for our cows. I like these open pastures. We're definitely going to use these when we have multiple pens. My concern is they're breeding pastures, so there's typically no manure, no slurry, and no milk. And while we're not going to produce a lot of that stuff to begin with, I do want the ability to capture milk as soon as possible so that we can make some money on that. You know, if we go into the sale today or tomorrow or next month and there's a pregnant, female cow in there that's going to give birth soon and it's going to give milk, we want to be able to capture that, try to make our money back. So I like these, but I don't think that's a good idea. A lot of these are just super expensive. We have our feedlots, which I could definitely see using in the future, but again, not the barn sort of capture point we want to be able to put our females in. We're gonna have to separate them out to begin with, or in the end when they're pregnant, but right now I feel like we want to be cautious and have a barn. So this one, also a breeding barn, no milk production. All of these are, that's 85,000, 150. We have the fenceless pastures, but again, doesn't look like it produces milk. This one might. That's interesting. What else do we have? So this one also looks like it might produce milk. Not bad. What was that? So this one holds, for 8 grand, it holds 7. And for 5 grand, that one also holds 7. Those are pretty good options. We have another open one. The bigger one, this holds 500 animals. This is the type of thing we're going to have for our outdoor pasture. 500 animals, excellent. But not what we're going to start with. Another open one, 7, but again, doesn't do milk. Not what we're looking for. These are sort of expensive. 45 cows, self-made shed. That's not bad at all. That one, someone holds 45. This one holds 50. Definitely does milk. And this one has a little storage shed on the end, I think. Does this one have any customization options? No, it doesn't. So $36,500 or $40,000. I sort of like the look of this one as well. So let's see if we can get this tucked in. Where is the landscaping going to be the best? Flat over here? No, we're definitely better over here. Yeah, this is the spot we got to bail there. So let's go ahead and see if we can push that out of the way. It'd be great if we had some bale forks on a front loader, but we don't have that yet. So we're going to rely on trying to drive over it, knock it around a little bit. Let's see how this goes, because that's definitely the flat spot to put that first barn. So maybe back up into it and try to just push it around a little bit. Let's see how this goes. I expect we're just going to end up getting high centered pretty quickly. Oh, nice and easy, not too much gas. Yeah. Oh, that went really well, guys. Our first manual bale handling. Didn't do anything with it, but pushed it out of the way. All right, so back in here, grab this. Yeah, it's nice and flat in here. It's this spot, like right about here is the sweet spot. 87, 84, 83, 81. Yeah, I think that 81, 82. Yeah, right there is about as good as it's going to get. Let's do a quick ring of dirt around it just for access purposes, so we can track it. Also, let us see how the landscaping did. Yeah, we're a little rough on this back edge here. Let's see if we can smooth that a tiny bit. Will that smooth? No, it will not. So we will do this. We're going to pull it back out. That's fine. And then let's go with the flattening tool. And let's expand out just a little bit. Make sure we can landscape. I don't like when the buildings have bumps around them. I like to be able to smooth everything out. Okay, so that should be good. Drop back down. Want it to snap to the grid. I'm thinking like that right there. Yeah, perfect. Okay, that one's placed. Now we go back in with our softening tool and just roll all these edges nice and smooth. And we are good to go. Let's jump out and see what that looks like real quick. So that is a nice looking barn. Oh, look at the animation. The door is open. Yeah, so we even have storage in here in addition. We have a milk trigger, food trigger. We got slurry down here. Looks like maybe we put straw in there. We'll have to figure all that out. But yeah, this looks really good. All right, so I'm going to drive back up to the shop since we're not jumping between vehicles. We have to do everything manually. And we need to get our international back. We need to find an animal trailer and get some animals down here on the farm. So I'll check in with you guys when we're back at the shop. We are back at the shop, guys, and if you look down in that bottom right-hand corner, that was 5 miles down to our farm and back with a little bit of mowing. That was a crazy amount of driving. We're going to have to find a shorter route, but for now, let's jump in and grab ourselves an animal transport trailer and get some cattle back to the farm. So we have our standard Fliegel, holds 6 animals, 25,000. That's a nice option. We do have the leash installed for moving the animals around the farm. I downloaded this 32-foot Wilson gooseneck. I like the way this trailer looks. I'm just not sure if we need anything that big right now. So I think we're going to go with the Dangerville trailer. It's under 10 grand, super simple, no customization. Holds 5 animals. I just think we got to save as much money as we can. And I don't know that going with a bigger trailer for almost 3 times as much makes sense this early in the gameplay. Plus, I think our old truck will be fine, but it doesn't hurt to have a smaller trailer and not stress out the truck. Alright, squared up here. The animal dealer is this building straight in front of us. Here we go. Let's jump on in and get to buying our first round of cattle. So here we are, and we're heading in. So our goal is to get at least 1 high-quality bull and several cows. So brown Swiss, quality on that one overall is average, extremely low, very low. Wow, these are not good cows, guys. I was expecting better. Okay, brown Swiss bull, very low, very low. Okay, very high, that's good, but he's only 5 months. He's cheap, $741, but he won't be able to reproduce for 7 months, and that seems like too long. Extremely low quality, very low quality. Wow, they do not have a lot of good options. Okay, here we go. Here's a Holstein cow, 10 months, so it's 2 months away from being able to breed. Very high, very high, very high, very good overall quality high. I like that animal. Let's check that one off. Very low, no thanks. Extremely low, no thanks. All right, so we're moving on to Angus. We have a 10-month-old Angus, so again, be able to reproduce in 2 months. 1,400, quality is high. I like that animal. Very low, extremely low. Jeez Louise. Very high. This one's only 3 months old, though. Health is high, milk production is high. I'm not going to produce any milk, so it doesn't matter. Metabolism's high, fertility's high. Quality is very high. Let's keep an eye out. Very low. All right, Angus bulls. Here's a very high rated bull, but he's 35 months old and almost 8 grand. This is a good animal, guys, but they typically live 5 years, give or take. So he is like less than 2 years left. That's a tough investment. Let's check him for now. Okay, here's another bull, 9 months, extremely high. So in 3 months, this guy will be able to reproduce. Metabolism is extremely high. Milk production is very high. Health is very high. Overall, extremely good. Quality, extremely high. And fertility, very high. I think this bull takes the cake away from the older one because it's also a third the cost or even less. Another bull, a little less expensive, a little bit older, 1 month older, but not quite as good quality. Low, yeah, very bad. Okay, limousines. This one's 12 months, so it's ready to be bred. We're not quite there yet with our bulls, but milk production is very high, metabolism's high, health is high, overall is good, quality is high. So, man, that's not exactly what we're looking for. Very bad. We don't need any bulls. We're keeping that one. I mean, we can look at these real quick. This one's very good. Again, 39 months. Yeah, this one overall is good. This one's extremely good, 13 months. This one would be able to reproduce now. It's only $2,700. That's not a bad bull. The question is it better than the limousine? Or I'm sorry, the Angus. The Angus is $1,850, 27. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Here's another one, 12 months for 25. Yeah, these would be ready to breed right away, but I think, yeah, maybe save a little bit of money. Now, I don't know if the Angus bull or the limousine bull will breed a water buffalo. We're going to look and see what we have here. It's not really very good water buffalo. So how many animals is that? Let's see. Buy selected. We have 4 animals. We can take 5 back. So we have our bull and we have 3 cows. Is there a better option? Man. I mean, this one's basically ready to go. 8 months, 9 months. Yeah, I mean, that one is 12 months. Its overall is good. Metabolism's high. Milk production very high. Health very high. Fertility very high. Yeah, let's grab this one. I think it's going to be a lot of picking the right animals for us. So there, we have our 5 animals, all unique. It's cool to see different animals in the trailer, different ages, different breeds. They're all stacked in there. Let's run these guys back and get them into the barn, and I think that's where we're going to call it an episode for today. We'll probably start episode 2 still in August, getting our cows fed and getting the rest of the equipment back to the farm and set up for our first full month with animals. So I'll see you guys back at the farm. We are back at the farm, and I gotta tell you, this Scout pulls this trailer like a dream. No problem at all. If you guys kept up, we were cruising at 60, which was crazy. So let's get these animals into the barn. Cool. Pop out, take a look and see what we got. All right, they're in there, guys. That was an exciting first episode. We got a lot done, so much more to do, but we have cows on the ranch now, and now it starts the process of building our wildly successful and huge cattle ranch here on Sunshine Forest. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to drop a like and turn on notifications for more videos, and we'll see you in the next one.